Here we are. We're live, Viv.
I just love for anybody watching these, whenever they come on, they're probably wondering why we're always giggling when we start.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so funny to sit there and be like, is it going live? When is it going live? Is it live now?
Now,
We're on now, exactly.
it always entertains us. Hello, my dear friend,
Exactly.
Godsey. How you be?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm really, really good. I've had the most amazing morning with animals and just receiving the earth, receiving the land, receiving the animals, receiving the insects, the bugs, all the animals we can't see. It's just this. I'm in the middle of facilitating a talk to the animals, start the conversation class, and so much shifts and changes within my world when I facilitate these classes. It's like everything becomes more alive, everything's more present, everything is more loud, but without being loud. You know, you just everything is just, it's just available. Everything is available. It's just the most amazing experience to have that. And then to go, well, I was just saying to Susie, I've just done a photo shoot this morning on my friend's farm with anything from chickens to goats to cows we had so much fun. And it was really interesting watching the animals, how they were with me as well. You know, and they say never do photography or filming with animals and children because they're so unpredictable, and it was incredible what showed up. So
Right.
yeah,
I also have a really funny story with that. Like every time I do a photo shoot in the most random places, like, you know, one time in Croatia, every time a cat shows up, it is unbelievable. Like literally, I was in the middle of Utrecht, which is like a little town close to Amsterdam. And we were in the middle of the city and we were doing a photo shoot. And across the road, I see this black and white cat, and I'm like, do you want to be in my photo shoot? And the cat starts walking towards me, and I'm like, wait, because cars were coming. So I ran across the street because I was like, no, I'm coming your way. I mean, it's incredible. Like, I don't know what that is, but I have so many pictures with cats. And if people ever ask me, oh, is that your cat? No, it's just a random cat that showed up for the photo shoot.
yeah, it is. It's just to have that level of communion and connection and receiving, you know, making the request and receiving. So that leads us beautifully into this conversation in regards to what is a Costarricense de Paso.
Yeah.
So what is
pretty,
so yeah,
it's what are these horses? It's a horse. Let's just reveal that. It's a horse.
And it's even the name Costarricense, you know, it's like words carry energies. And when we become really present with the languaging that we're using, and we're present with what that energy is conveying and what it's acknowledging or what it's projecting, because, you know, you can call your dog or cat stupid or doofus or, you know, shithead or whatever, because I hear people call their animals all sorts of things. Even if it's tongue in cheek, it's sending an energy to that animal. Yeah. So when we look at what is a Costarricense de Paso, the first time I ever heard this, it was like, wow, the energy of this was proud, you know, strong, present, sturdy, and just magnificent. That was the energy. I'm like, what is a Costarricense de Paso? So, Susie, you've had a lot to do with these horses. Would you like to take that conversation wherever it wants to go?
Well, thank you, Viv. I love what you just said, because these horses are so different in the way, even with their posture and the way that they look. So I was first introduced to this breed of horses through Gary Douglas. Now, Gary Douglas loves horses and has been around horses his entire life. And he loved Paso horses because they're so smooth, but they're also tentatively small. Like, you know, if you look at a Peruvian Paso horse, they're not the tallest horse in the world, but Gary is not a super tall man, but he's a tall man. And so when he sits on a Paso horse, you know, he always feels like his feet are dragging on the floor. And so the first time he went to Costa Rica, he met the Costarricense de Paso, which is also a Paso horse, but it's taller. And like you said, Viv, it has that sort of sense of pride that is different, and they are very, very awake in their head. So they are very smart. And they're also not, they don't really have a lot of, like when certain horses, like for example, if you have an Arabian, or let's say you have a thoroughbred, their brains always seem like they're a bit busy, and there's always stuff going on. And these Costa Rican horses, they have a very, very quiet demeanor, and yet they're still spirited. And I think
Mm.
that's what really made Gary fall in love with them, because he had never met a horse that was smooth. So it's a beautiful ride because you're not bouncing around. Um, they're tall enough for him. They are very quiet in their head. They're very intelligent, and they're kind. So they really are, they're not out to do anything to you. They have been in Costa Rica, used there for a very long time, basically in the rainforest as working animals. And so they have a very beautiful gait because they needed to pull their feet out of the mud. So they developed this really high stepping um, gait, basically, that they all have inherently. I mean, they're born with it. And they don't have, so they are a Paso horse, but they don't pace. You know how Paso horses pace, meaning they move the same two legs on the lateral. And actually, the Costarricenses move their legs bilaterally, but they're still considered a Paso horse because they're so smooth. So, yeah, there we go.
And just what you were saying too, Susie, it's like, I remember Gary saying we were at a conscious horse, conscious rider training in Texas, and he was right. There were 3 stallions being ridden at the same time. And for anybody that is, aware of how stallions traditionally behave, these, you could put a child on the back of a Costarricense stallion. You could put your mother on there. You could put somebody on that's not, a great rider. And they just have this way of taking care of you. They have this way of making sure. And you look at how the Costarricense horse has been used traditionally in Costa Rica. It isn't just a lawn ornament. It's not a pet pony. Their heritage is they've been working horses, so they're very adaptable to basically anything you request of them. So, but something I wanted to really open up a bit more is what you were saying about, sometimes horses have really busy heads. So Arab horses, thoroughbred horses, they have this. Whereas with the Costarricense horses, they're more like a monk. They're a bit more zen in their head. So what does that afford for people in regards to connecting with them? What space does that create for them to actually connect and have a different experience with these Costarricenses?
Yeah, I think beautifully said, Viv, because I think what a lot of people are experiencing. So just to give a little bit of a story here too. So basically, Gary Douglas imported a few of these horses into the US, and he is the only place in the US right now that is doing a breeding program, actually. So, if you're interested in these horses and you are in the United States, you can find them there. There's a couple of them in Australia because Gary also brought some of them to Queensland, actually. So there's a couple of them there. But also, of course, they are in Costa Rica. And right now, Gary and Dane have been developing this beautiful resort there that's called El Lugar. And we talked about El Lugar a couple of times already. And there we have a lot of Costarricense de Paso horses. So people there go for rides in the jungle, and they are riding these horses. And so it's a really beautiful ride. And so far, everybody who has come there, and this is not people just from Access Consciousness, which is what we do, but really pretty much everybody that comes there and rides the horses there writes a very specific review about them, like where it's always about, wow, it was so cool to ride these horses. They are so sure-footed. They are so wonderful. They're so kind. They are so responsive. So You can connect to them in a way with your head. Of course, they also work with any cues that a horse would work with, of course, but you can think at them, and they actually are really willing to be so present with you. Sometimes it takes a long time to create that, sometimes with your horse,
Mm.
and with those horses, like total strangers step on them and write about that, so it's interesting. And of course, the horses there at the resort, they are not being trained to all walk in one row and not respond to what the rider is doing. As a matter of fact, the rides there are very open. It's not like one trotting after another. It's They do them in different groups depending on if you're advanced, intermediate, or a beginner. You get to run or not. Like, there's all these different things that you can do there, and it's a really beautiful experience to ride these horses. But like I
Mhm.
said, it's really fascinating to see how many people write exactly about that, like, oh, I had a connection with this horse that I normally don't have, like that with like a string horse.
Yeah. And again, it's what invitation does their space in their head invite people to? It invites you to be a lot more aware of what is in your head, because if they're perceiving what's in your head, and I know for me, whenever I get on a horse, all of this just goes. There is just total space. There's total connection. I'm aware of the environment. I'm aware of the horse. And so it's taken me a while to get there. And how much do these horses actually, how much do any horse, any animal invite you to be that space of no thinking, no chatter, no noise, so that you can actually have a very clear energetic communion and connection with these animals, that you can make a request and they have absolute clarity in what you're requesting, because there's no interference. Because most people's heads are very busy. Our heads are like crazy 24/7 for a lot of people. Some people's never turn off. So the space that those horses invite is that sense of peace and quiet and presence, which I think a lot of us are craving these days. Even if we can't put words to that, I think a lot of people are craving that sense of relaxation in their head and that peace and connection to everything. And just something else you were saying too, Susie, because I know I've ridden a lot of different styles, English and Western, and I've tried a lot of different things. And I know the first time I sat in a saddle that was made for these Costarricenses, and I was on a Costarricense, it was a totally different set of skills that was required of me. And it was a bit bumpy to start with, to get out of my old way of functioning. And then I asked the horse to show me how it would like me to be with its body. And
Mm.
all of a sudden, there was this transformation in my energy. I stopped trying to do, from an old reference point, and I just relaxed and let the horse's body show my body how it would like to carry me and how it would like to contribute to my body and take care of me for that ride. And it was like being in a rocking chair. And it didn't take this bumpy, the first hour or so trying to find that zone or that space or that way of being with the animal. It was instantaneous the moment I asked. It's like, sure, I'll show you, just relax and I'll take care of you. And to have, like you're saying, that sure-footedness, that steadfastness within themselves, it's like being around a person that really knows who they are, and they're a confident leader. They inspire and they empower people. And so that inspires trust. That inspires,
Mhm.
even if I'm a little bit unsure or uncertain, it's like, have you got this? Yeah. Okay. I'll relax and let you show me that you've got this. So
Yeah.
it's a very different way to experience horseback riding. So, if anybody is watching this that is a horse person and would like to experience these horses, El Lagar is open to anybody, and you can get to go on these amazing rides in the rainforest and be in the most amazing environment that is such a contribution to you and your body. And the horses just desire to contribute more of that space and that connection to your world. So anything else you want to add, Susie, that we haven't touched on with these horses?
Well, I mean, I think that, like you said it too earlier, with, animals can be such a gift all around. So really, truly, any and every animal can be a gift to us if we're willing to receive it. And I have to say that these horses are a very special breed in that sense, and worth a try. You know, if you think you've sat on all horses, try the Costarricenses as well.
And damn, you have to go to Costa Rica or America to go and try them out. And the other thing too, you know, I mean, riding them, it gets you out of your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, worrying about what's going on in your life, and you just get to park that for the time being. You can pick it up again if you desire, but these horses show you that space of what if all of life could be like this? What if how you interact with every situation, no matter how challenging your life is, you could have this energy available to you. So Susie and I are about to start facilitating this coming weekend an advanced Talk to the Animals class called Creating Greater Possibilities, which is all about that. It's all about really going beyond the thoughts, the feelings, and the emotions that we so often slather and apply all over our animals in the animal kingdom without realizing, hang on, do they actually function this way? Or is this my projection of how I live that I'm putting into their world that's not congruent? So if you would like to experience a bit more about Talk to the Animals, we have the beginning class, the Start the Conversation, which is a prerequisite for the Creating Greater Possibilities, and also a Choice for Possibilities class, which is also an Access Consciousness class. So if you're watching and you'd like to know more about this, you can go to talktotheanimals.com or accessconsciousness.com or susiegodley.com or vivadcock.com.
So many .coms.
I'm just animals.com. I'm just throwing everything in there now. What else is possible? Yeah,
exactly.
Thank you, Susie. Thank you, everybody, for watching us now and in the future.
Yeah, and thank you, Viv. And how does it get any better than this?
Elderguard.com. I think it's
Elderguard.com.
I think it is from the top of my memory. Yeah.
Yeah. I will post that in the places where I just stream to. So just in case you want to find Elderguard, then you have more ease with that.
Great. Thank you, Susie. And we'll be back with another amazing conversation, taking you into the adventures in the animal kingdom very soon. Bye for now.
Bye.